Hi, thanks for tuning in to my official YouTube channel. I'm Reverend MeeLing, Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle. Been known by a few names, depending on which area you knew me, depends on what you best knew me as. Those are just a few of my names that I've gone by. Nonetheless, so there was this point in time, my now dead ex-husband, just before, what was it, I think it was before the final separation, but after the first separation, obviously before his death and all that sort of stuff, which I was in a different part of the city, had not seen him in 2 days, that whole thing. So, at that point in time, my now dead ex-husband said that he, wished that I would never, ever be with anybody that had a bigger piece, than what he had. And, there are those who understand that. And at one point in time, I had actually asked him, why is that such a big deal? And he said that it would feel, whatever to him, like he'd be all upset or whatever. And I looked at him, I said, it doesn't matter if I'm not with you, I'm going to be with who I'm going to be with. And so, since not with you, I'm going to be with who I'm going to be with. And so, at that point in time, before the final separation, of course, and obviously before his death, realistically, I hadn't. It wasn't that I ever flaunted it. It wasn't that I ever said anything about that. It was just one of those, what I do with whoever I do, that's none of your business, and it is what it is. So, after his death, and still having been with that arranged relationship with Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., and that whole thing. And as soon as I could get rid of Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., which, by the way, for those who understood that and that whole aspect, again, my now dead ex-husband had picked Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., for a multitude of his reasons, or my view of excuses. And so, there is that. That being said, as soon as the relationship with Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., was completely over and done with, got rid of him, getting him out of my house by returning him back to San Antonio, because, that whole thing. One of those bye-bye sort of things. And so, I'm not the most promiscuous individual, despite having been in the lifestyle for BDSM, LGBTQP, and swinger lifestyles. I've been involved with that since 2004, officially, realistically. And so, I've gone on quite a few dates, just, didn't go all the way in that regard. And so, there were, not to be all, whatever. However, 2 individuals in particular that I had been involved with had been bigger and would have absolutely infuriated my now dead ex-husband if he was alive. Which is ironic, because my biological parents, specifically my biological mother, Anna Louise Lally Hong, And my biological sister, Patricia Ann Hom Miller, had, taken my now dead ex-husband's side, as well as Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr.'s side, over mine. And they absolutely did not like the first of those two individuals. Absolutely, just because I was happy. And so because I was happy, my biological mother and biological sister were infuriated because, how dare I be happy? Anyway, that particular individual, they were extremely upset with because I was actually happy. And they could see that, that would have worked out in a better way than how my now dead ex-husband treated me. Same thing with Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr. And so, though the other one that would, pun intended, fit into that category, classification, or whatever, they didn't know about him. They didn't know that I was dating him at all. And it was one of those mutual respect sorts of things, because it was one of those, if that was going to be a bigger, pun intended, aspect of however you want to view that, it would have been, discussed for that to occur, because despite certain things, it's just one of those, if that is going to go to a different level, it's one of those, I'm very old-fashioned. I mean, I understand, in this era, it is what it is. However, I am extremely old-fashioned, so unless it is flat out discussed, I don't want to impose anything. And so, in that regard, I was essentially involved with two individuals that would have flared up my biological parents, specifically biological mother and biological sisters. My biological father, so much, but nonetheless, would have infuriated them because of, how dare I be happy? Imagine that. Nonetheless, they didn't know about the other guy, which was closer towards the end of certain things in regards to what was going on with my daughter and the sort of stuff like that. And they also did not know, specifically my biological mother did not know that I was with the guy I was dating at the time, and she, along with my biological father, my roommate at the time, and as they, meaning my biological mother and biological father, had discussed with my biological sister, they wanted me to date someone and get in a relationship and all that sort of stuff. And I told them that, if that came to be, then that would come to be. However, it's on my terms. And, I've had many individuals that have been, well, you should do this. Well, or I should do what I need to do. Well, you should look at this instead of this. Well, I think I should do what I need to do instead of what you think I should do, because I know myself better than you know me. Well, I think, and I get that. I know that I'm not the only one who's ever dealt with that. And it's just one of those, I was dating that guy at the time. However, we hadn't made it official and that sort of thing. And so, when it came time in reference to paperwork being signed in regards to what was going on with my daughter, because my biological mother had no idea that I was actually dating the guy, and had no business of hers anyway to be informed of such. When I had called to ask for just 24 hours longer to kind of deal with stuff, not kind of, but to deal with stuff, she had thrown her fit and yelled at me and berated me and all this sort of stuff, and told me, you know, what she did. And she had no idea that I was with the guy I was dating that she didn't know about, and or in other ways had no idea that he heard every word she yelled at me on that day. And after getting off the phone, getting other things taken care of, making sure my son was squared away, so on and so forth, that particular guy just kind of looked at me and he was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I asked him what he meant, and he was like, "That was your mom?" I was like, "Yeah, so remember how I told you my biological mother absolutely despised my existence?" And he just kind of looked at me and nodded, and I was like, "Yeah, that was nice." And I don't mean a her type of nice. I mean, like, that was, compared to what I grew up hearing, that was actually really nice and kind. You know, she had actually told me far worse to my face well before then. And he just kind of looked at me, just like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Yeah, so, you know, I've dealt with some stuff." And then, you know, well, I had just finished saving his life, so there was a whole bunch of other stuff. And so we talked for a little bit longer. Oh, little baby. And so, there was a little baby. And so, yeah. But it's kind of ironic in that regard, because my biological mother and biological sister especially, but also my biological father, had taken my dead ex-husband's side, and in turn took Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr.'s side, instead of mine. And that obviously means my biological sister took both of their sides in that regard. However, that had to be somewhat difficult in certain regards for them, because if my biological mother continued being how she was when I knew her, when I sent the books to my biological father, the first 8 books that I wrote, Anna, my biological mother, would have most likely contacted Patricia, my biological sister, and cried a whole bunch and wham, wham, wham. And then that in turn would have meant that Patricia's husband would have been contacted. And then which they had been told about the 151 Road Warrior thing that Cactus Jack, also known as Jeffrey Kirkendall Jr., had been a part of during that Fiesta San Antonio thing in Texas, where I didn't know which government branch I would have needed to contact, and I had hoped that, like, there would be some individuals who would be able to figure out that sort of thing, like, and at least tell me who I needed to contact, because I'd have contacted them really quick. I mean, technically I kind of did, because, you know, in regards to, like, after I spoke with CID, Criminal Investigation Division at JBLM, and they told me to contact the Pentagon, I contacted the Pentagon, though it was about my Medal of Honor art project. And then the Tacoma police told me to contact the FBI, and I contacted the FBI. And so that's like a pattern of behavior, that if I had been told who to contact back then, I'd have contacted them back then to let them know. However, I contacted them afterwards. And unlike me, my biological mother worked for McHenry County Government Center, so her being told about the aspects of the Road Warrior 151 thing, she would have technically known who to contact as far as that 151 Fiesta Texas thingamabob and the Road Warrior thing. She would have, as many times as she went on about her having a degree and blah, 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 blah. And so, just saying, by technicalities. And so, then again, she should have also known who I could have gone to get help from to help my daughter, as well as my son, after what occurred because of McCoy Elementary School and that Fort Worth Zoo field trip. However, my biological mother, Anna Louise Lally Hom, had been as she had been. And so if, hypothetically, she had contacted the family of Patricia, my biological sister, her husband's family, and did like her crying thing and all that, and I was like, look, she wrote these books, and blah, blah, blah. I didn't know about the San Antonio Fiesta thing as far as like the history of it, obviously. I mean, I knew that the Alamo had been moved. I knew that. I don't know how, like, to explain that portion, but nonetheless, as far as like law enforcement branch division, something another, that would be something I didn't know. And by technicalities, I don't know if that considers the same thing as assisting something another, but nonetheless, I at least tried to make sure stuff was taken care of properly. May not have been the smartest way to go about doing it because of not knowing. Probably because of that head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000 After Effects thing. Probably. However, so there's a sign that has elk, and it says for the next 7 miles. Apparently elk only travel in the 7 mile stretch. They don't go anywhere else. I'm on I-90 going eastbound. Apparently the elk only travel in the 7 mile stretch. They don't go anywhere else. They somehow know this is the only area that they can travel. Or, they're just wild animals and they go where they go. I have a weird sense of humor, I get it. So, anyway, if in regards to the aspects of the ear popping thing is an issue for me. Headaches and migraines do not like ear popping thing. Nonetheless, so that whole aspect of stuff. I at least did what I could. I contacted all sorts of different agencies and organizations to attempt to do the right thing as far as getting assistance. biological mother at one point in time was a substitute teacher in the state of Texas, so she probably knew someone. And Patricia, being, married to someone from the state of Texas, if she had cared about my son and my daughter, then, beyond just them being a ring bearer and flower girl at her wedding, maybe then something could have been assisted in that regard. However, if Anna did that, I could see her doing that. Oh, Zach's family. Oh, she wrote these books and she told the truth and when. Take a look at them. Okay, we didn't even know you had another daughter. Well, now you do. And yeah, I'm sure that. Why didn't you tell us you had another new? Well, And then her garbage that she would do as far as pretending that she cared and all that. So anyway, I'm on my way. Go stop at the Montana Vortex, which is absolutely not on the way to the state of Texas. No, it is very much out of the way from going back to the state of Texas. It's very much out of the way. It's very much out of the way. It's like additional 6 hours or something like that for there and back, minimally in that regard. Then the irony in that regard, so there's some irony to that, because after I had landed at the bottom of the ocean when I went scuba diving, and this was in 2009 at the Matthias Abyss where the Vandenberg is, scuba dove there and that whole thing, surfaced, the irony is, after surfacing, safely, of course, my ex-sisters-in-law and my ex-brother-in-law were like, you need to go see great-grandma Nichols, and you need to do this, and you need to do that, and blah, blah, blah. Could have done that when we were in Georgia, but so I had driven an extra however many hours of water, and I'd driven an extra however many hours to go to Steele, Alabama, which kind of freaked out great grandpa's brother, which would be my children and my niece Marissa's great uncle Tony. Hold on, there's water. Nope, there it is. You can see the water. Water. Since I just brought up the scuba diving, I don't know if you can see that yet. Maybe that's better. The water. So yeah, but in that regard of going and surfacing, great uncle Tony was just kind of like, you went scuba diving where, and you had a head injury when? Oh, I had a head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. And you went scuba diving where? Oh, to the Vandenberg. Have you ever heard of it? Oh, kinda. Oh, okay. And what happened? Well, I went and I landed at the bottom of the ocean. Can you believe that assigned scuba dive buddy didn't see me at the bottom of the ocean, great Uncle Tony? Oh my God, what? So in reference to the Montana Vortex and driving extra, the GPS wound up taking me through Tennessee to get back to Texas. I looked at a map afterwards, meaning, you know, during my Medal of Honor Art Project trip. I don't remember what year it was. I think it was 2015 or 2016 when I realized Tennessee is higher, more north than Texas. It's a little late to figure that out. By a lot. However, it's just kind of ironic in reference to going to the state of Montana on my way back from picking up my 2 biggest Medal of Honor artwork pieces that I did. And, you know, Montana vortex is more north than where I have to go, because Texas is south. And so, okay, I think it's funny because, you know, I can make fun of myself. But yeah, I did. It took me that long to figure it out. From 2009 to 2015 or 2016 to realize that Tennessee is more north than the state of Texas. Figured that out all by myself. A couple of days after getting back to the state of Texas, but not in the state of Texas because of that whole, you know. That's probably those cognitive disorders. In that regard, that is probably what that is. Probably that is what that's probably what that is. As far as me not figuring out that Tennessee is more north than the state of Texas. But I figured it out. So there's that. It took me a couple of days. So yeah, you know. I do the best that I can. So, you know. You know. I landed where I did. And so, you know, just rambling on. I'll end this particular broadcast of my official YouTube channel. Comment and like and subscribe to my official YouTube channel, Reverend MeeLing. You guys have a good one.